Aaron here. Today I want to tell you how we use filter cloth and weed barrier in the landscape industry. Now I know different people do different things, but there's different uses and different types. So I just wanted to show you a couple and give you a couple of ideas of what we use it for. So we get a lot of calls for people in weak areas, or if we're doing landscape projects, they have a shed pad or behind a shed an area or the side of the house or in between driveways, places where they want to put river rock, river pebbles, or pea stones, small gravel, and they want to clean up the weeds, clean up the grass. The grass doesn't grow there, whatever. So that's the kind of spot where we'll use something like this. Now this is a cheap weed barrier. That's what this is. This is weed barrier. Um, we use that for spots like that. We use that for in between driveways. We use it a number of different spots, but this is like a cheapy roll, and I call it cheap because it's cheaper than the other stuff that I'm going to show you next, the actual woven filter cloth. But this, I think it's a I don't even know, poly something blend, and this is a very thin, easy to cut roll. This is 50 by 30 feet. Usually when we do those areas, we remove the sod, we scrape it all off with a spade or a sod cutter, or if it's dead already, we just clean it up, and we'll go over top of it with something like this. You roll it out. We usually use sod staples, which I don't have with me right now, and then we would put a couple staples to hold it down, and that's how we do it. Let's pretend this piece of wood is a staple, that's holding that down. We roll it out, and we grab another, we cut it off wherever, and then we just roll it back again, right? And then we would cut this off here and just overlap everything, and there you go. There's your area covered with the cloth. You got it all stapled down, and then you bring in the gravel or river rock or pea stone or whatever you have, and you install it on top. It's a good weed barrier. That's that. Now the other stuff, the more expensive stuff, is this. This is a woven, I don't even know what it blend, but this stuff you can use for that as well, but it's more expensive. And we do use it sometimes on certain jobs, but we're using this mostly for other things. Like if we build a small garden wall or retaining wall, we use this to separate the earth from the gravel behind the wall, which has the weeping tile in it for drainage. If we do a French drain system, or we're installing weeping tiles or whatever, usually this is the kind of stuff we're using to wrap that stuff in to keep our gravel clean and having the water run through it. Not this cheap shit, because this will just easily rip. Like, this stuff isn't meant for being there for years and years and years. This is sort of a low end weed barrier for smaller things. This is more for a structure being built that's going to be there for a long time. They both have their uses. Now, some people roll this stuff out either A or B under interlock. I don't. I've never seen the use for that, but I see the point in people using it. Some people, after they do their excavation of their dig out, before they put the gravel in, they'll put something like this, the weed barrier or filter cloth, in the hole or in the walkway or patio area to separate the subsoil from the new gravel that you're putting in there. So I understand if that's the way you do it. Great, no problem. That's not the way I do it. I've never had a need for it, but that's also used for that. Now this is much more expensive than this. This is a few $100s a roll. This is like $20 a roll. So there's a big difference. You can't tell, but this is much thicker and heavier than the weed barrier. What else can I tell you about this stuff? Do not put this stuff in gardens, either or. A lot of people think you're saving time and money and you're not going to have weeds by installing a weed barrier or filter cloth under your new garden bed. Not true. In certain instances, yes, but you're still going to have weeds. Like, if you roll this out everywhere, put it over your soil and then put your mulch on top, every time you stick your shovel in the ground in that bed to plant something, you're going to be hitting filter cloth. Then you have to move all the soil out of the way, cut an X, open it up, dig again, plant your shrub or your perennial, whatever you're planting into that, close it all back up. It's a nightmare to deal with, and you're still going to get the weeds because the weeds will grow on top of this. Even with the river rock, when we use it in those places with river rock and it's all clean and nice, you still have dust blowing around in the area, dirt flying around, and seeds from trees that blow around in grass, and they get in there and the weeds still grow from the top of this. they're not necessarily growing through it from the bottom, from the subearth, but it gets dirty on top and weeds start growing out of here. Are they easy to pick out? Of course, they come out much easier than pulling them out of the ground because they're not as rooted as deep. But don't think by installing this stuff in your garden beds that it's going to save you any time with weeds. It's buying you a little bit of time, but not very much. I know when we get to a job and someone has installed this stuff under the garden and we're expected to come there and plant things, the price skyrockets because of the time it takes to deal with that. So I don't install it like that. I have maybe, I don't know, 5 people a year, homeowners usually, that ask me, can we do this before we start doing their planting? And I just steer them clear of that. I say, we don't do that. I don't provide that service because I don't think it's the ideal situation. That's not what we do in the industry around here anyway, under a garden bed. But yeah, that's the gist of it, guys. There's a more expensive one that we use for behind walls, French drains and draining systems. There's the cheaper ones for the little areas where you're going to put pebbles and rocks. And the odd customer, I mean, if they're set on that's the way they want it, then okay, we'll do it. We'll just charge them more and we'll install this in their garden if that's what they want. But I try and talk them out of it as much as I can because it's a pain in the butt for whether it's me, them, or the next guy who goes there to plant something to dig in that. So I just wanted to do this quick video today and let you know a little about filter cloth and the uses that we use it for. I hope it was helpful. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you didn't, well, it is what it is. Sorry, I tried. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.